How's it going, tubers? I'm going to start a new project today, and I've had all my wood I've got cut now, and I'll show you what I've got right now. It's just off the side of the building like this, and it's trying to keep this tarp on there. I know it's just going to be hectic in the winter, so I have two more of the sheets that I used for the roof up here, and this is what they look like. So they're a little over 10 feet long. They're 10'6" or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them in half. So I'll have about 5'3", and that will be the span that's going to come off the side there. So first thing is to cut these panels in half, and then I can lay them out side by each, and then measure it and make sure I get my the proper width. And then I got the 2x4s to build my beam that goes across, and then these fancy posts are going to be in the corners holding up at the front. So I will get set up here, and we'll get this cut, and then we'll go along through the process.
Alright,
we'll see you in a second.
And I'm going to try to cut it with the grinder, see how that goes first. Should work okay. We'll be back there in a minute.
Okay, so I got everything measured out. I got them all laid out on the ground over there, and it ends up being 111 or 111 inches. I'll measure that. 111. Trusty speed square out. Mark. Now what this one's going to be is the one that goes on the wall. So now this will be screwed into the wall. Make sure I get it all level and stuff with the building. And yeah, so we'll be back here in a minute. I'll get you set up over there to look at that, and then we can start framing out the rest of the ceiling and all of that. So okay, so I'm going to get up there and get this piece put on. Up. Now I gotta obviously put a lot more screws in it, but so yeah, I'll get that one up there, and then we'll work on making the front beam and getting the posts in and all that stuff. So be right back. Alright guys, well, it started to rain really hard here, so I had to put the camera away, and I'm a little stubborn, so I don't mind working in the rain. But got the two posts in, and they're just kind of sitting there right now. I got to get everything squared up and leveled up, and we'll go kind of from there. So right now, as you can tell, everything is not nice and level and square and everything. So, but that's the next step. I got to get these things all squared up and leveled up, and then we'll get these nailed on, and then I'll start putting the rafters on. And now there's going to be almost no pitch on here. There'll be a little bit, but this is something I'm going to be out here all the time, and I'll pull the snow off it and make sure it doesn't get too heavy for it. So that I'm not worried about, but yeah, this is how easy it is just to build something simple like this, just to keep your wood out of the elements, and it makes such a huge difference. Right now I've got these all piled. I know it seems like a lot of work to pile these and then unpile them, but These are all going to get thrown out here. All the wetter stuff's going to get put at the back, and then all the drier stuff at the front. And so I'm going to go from there. So right now, yeah, I'm going to worry about getting everything leveled off, and then we'll be back. So see you in a few minutes. Okay, well, I got that beam in there, and the dirt's just I'm starting to work on compacting the dirt around the bottoms. Now, yeah, I probably should use cement, but the way that how small this is, it's not going to move once everything's tied all in together, so I'm not too worried about it. So, but it is starting to rain again, of course. That's all it has done this year. It's rained 7 days in a row. We had 1 day of sun, and now it's supposed to rain 7 days again. So I'm just sick of it, and it just slows down the work outside and the stuff that I need to do for work. So yeah, so I'm gonna go put the camera back inside, and I'm gonna now work on the roof ties. That one's actually just a piece of wood I was putting up there to make sure I get everything square. So that's the next thing, is put the roof put the ties in, and we'll go from there. So we'll be right back. Okay, everybody, it's been raining off and on, so I got got the beams, everything's all lined up perfect there. So now what I'm doing is working on the rafter ties. So I figured out what I needed. That was my bird's mouth at the top to lock over, just because of the way the steel sits. And then that's the bird's mouth on the end, because it's going over top of the beam. So there's going to be this much gap between the steel. But this, because the way the steel sits, I'll show you later on. So now that I've got one marked out, I'm going to mark out all the rest and trace them so that they're all the same. And what I'm doing is I'm ripping down, I had a hole where I cut my that trailer that I made right over there. I have a previous video, you can check it out. But it was 5 feet longer, so I had already bought all the wood for it. So that's all the leftover pressure treat. But they're 2x8, so what I'm doing is I'm cutting them down in half, so they're 3.5, and making the rafters out of that. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'll get these all made up, and then we'll go about putting them in. So we'll be back here in a second. So I'm going to show you how to cut the bird mouths on here. I like to just throw a couple of screws in here, just so nothing moves. Take my skill saw, and you got to remember to lift your guard up. And all I've done here is just made one, and then you just keep tracing all the rest of them. And then you want to make sure, because your blade is round, obviously, you can't cut a nice. And there you go. That's how that's done. So now the next thing is to get these up here and get the sheets up here. So I'll get you set up over by where I'm building, and we'll go from there. All right. So now that we're over here, grab one of these. So as you can see, the way this metal goes, the last one has to sit higher. And so what I did, that's why I've cut it the way I did. So now it sits up on the edge like this, and then on the edge like this. And then now I can screw that down onto there like so, and I've got a nice tight fit. So what I'm going to do is get this one in, and then I'll mark for my next one, and we'll go all the way along until we get all the rafters in and the roof. So I'm going to do one as I go, just to make it a little easier. I'm going to throw a screw in here and in there, and yeah, actually maybe we'll just throw a nail in it. It's a big gun out anyway, so. There you go. Nail it there. goes up there. So now I can screw this panel down. I'm going to bend this metal in a little bit. This is all recycled materials like I always try to use. Most of the time it's recycled, and you know, free is always better. So got a little bit of overhang here. So I'm probably going to use the same paneling on the sides here, and then the front will probably just be a tarp that I drop down, and well, we'll see when we get there. So I'm going to get these panels up here, and we'll take a look. Okay, well, I'm doing the last rafter now, and yeah, I got all the rest up there now. You can see. There you go. So yeah, I'm going to do this last one here for you. And then I've got to close in the walls and get all this wood restacked. I'm using a plastic screw. It's got a plastic head on the top of it. Same ones I used for the other roof. I'm going to have to go along anywhere where there's these sharp edges here. I'll take the grinder and quickly knock them off. Alright, this last rafter up here. Okay. Screwed in now, and then we'll be done. This part of it, at least. This is how quick you can, like, I mean, it's maybe been a total of, I don't know, 2 hours, 2.5 hours to build this. Something very simple. Most people could build this. And you could just go to the home hardware or home building center near you and buy, sorry, the traffic here is bad. And just buy the steel for the roof. Now obviously I had it, but you'll notice a huge difference if you're not pulling your wood from underneath a tarp outside. It'll be a lot drier, and it's just much more enjoyable to burn that way. So, but yeah, there you go. That's the basic structure. I'm gonna try not to make this video too long. I like to keep them short enough to keep people interested. So, but that's it for the roof part. Now my next step is going to be to throw all this wood out of here. Sorry, I got my battery or my hard drive was full. So, alright, so yeah, what I'm going to do is do all that, and then once we get to that point, I will come back and we'll start on the outside walls for it. And yeah, so we'll see you here shortly. Okay, well, now that I've got all this framed out, you can see here. And because my shed had a little bit of an overhang, I had to build out around that, which is no big deal. So that's all that framed out. And now that that's done, I've got one piece cut here on the table already. So that one's going to go in, and I'll get this end closed in. I won't show you all this process because it's really not that exciting. So I will, yeah, got all the wood out. that was a task and a half. But yeah, so I'm going to frame this out, get the panels on, and we'll take a look. Okay, well, that one side's all done, all paneled up, and it looks good with the against the shed like that. So now I've just got the other side, and get the tarp down on the ground. Well, the wood doesn't get all ruined, but yeah, take a look at that. That turned out quite nice. And I think I got my pitch almost the same as the roof. Pretty darn close. So yeah, I'll finish this video off once I've got everything all piled back in there, and we'll take one last look, and that'll be the end of this. So we'll talk to you here shortly. Alright, well, it's pretty much all done now. Well, it is all done now. I got that whole other wall on now, and that's all finished. So now I'm just working on, I put a tarp down on the ground so that the moisture doesn't get in. And now this was all my green wood that I cut down this summer, and this giant pile here is all my dry wood. So that's the next to get stacked, but it's starting to get dark here. It's been a couple hours since I was last on here, and yeah, so things are moving along. But thanks for checking out this video, and if you could click the thumbs up button and leave a comment and subscribe, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Have a good day.